If you believe your sales are likely to grow next year, how confident are you that your profit will also grow in tandem? Well, for most businesses, the answer is at best uncertain. This is because profits tend to leak gradually in unknown avenues and businesses tend to lose sight of profit leaks over time. This is also because while businesses are good at reporting their profits, they are not really that good at reporting profit leaks. This has been the traditional so-called Achilles heel of most businesses, that they can't quite grapple with the profit leaks, and that tends to a lot of pain over time. So in this video, I'm going to give you a very simple framework where you can get an overview, like a helicopter view of typical profit leaks in your business. By no measure this is a comprehensive list, but it should at least give you some meaningful handles for you to look at, and we will take it from there. And at the end of this video, I will share with you an interesting tool that I built using ChatGPT, where you can play around with your own numbers, financial statements and other metrics from your own business, and you can wrap your arms around the typical profit leak so that it translates into some meaningful actions for you. My name is Naveen Narayanan. I'm MD of SSA Consulting Group. So let me dive into this simple mind map that I built for this, for building my argument. So let's start by asking the question, what really are profit leaks in any business? There are about 5 or 6 avenues that I have touched upon in this presentation. And as you go through it, I'm sure it will pique your interest to dive into many more facets of profit leaks, but this gives you a general framework or a roadmap to look at. So the obvious business signals, let's start by asking what kind of signals that you may likely miss that your business is already telling you. You may be in a business where sales are growing, but your profits are not keeping pace with the sales growth. Maybe you're discounting aggressively to win customers. Maybe this is what your competition is doing, and you may be engaged in a so-called race to the bottom, where in the quest to capture market share, we may be eroding margins as we do that. So this ends up becoming a bit of a race to the bottom where no one wins. The sales team seems to be very busy, but it is not reflecting in terms of the actual profits that we are making. So here we need to ask the question, which products or customers are actually making us money? Have we made a conscious decision of which customers we are going to go after? Have we looked at the contribution that each one of those products and customer segments give us? And does it still make sense for us to invest the resources to go after those customers despite the margins eroding? A follow-up to that is stagnation in your growth. You may face an alternate dilemma where you are still operating in the same market, same customer segments, and those markets or those segments are not growing. And we haven't been able to break the mold of going out of our comfort zone and go after customers or market segments that are beyond the obvious. So growth may feel harder to come by year on year, and we feel that we are stuck in the rut of not able to grow at the pace at which we aspire to grow. So here the question to ask is, how scientific is our sales growth and market expansion planning? Do we have the courage to look beyond the familiar, beyond the known? Are we able to plot what are the growth avenues in terms of the total addressable market or the share of the market that we can catch? Who are the other players? Can we look at adjacencies? If we haven't looked at these, we may be losing out on our potential to grow at a faster pace than what we deserve. Now let's look at some of the operational symptoms. These may be a bit more internal in nature. So for example, one of the areas that companies typically tend to leak profits is in terms of quality and rework. Have we tracked the customer returns, the rejections and rework? Are we normalizing rejection, poor quality, rework? Are we looking at metrics like first pass yield, the cost of rework? If no, then we should probably start asking the question, how we are doing on these metrics. Another often overlooked issue becomes speed of responsiveness. Have we looked at how our sales team is performing? When was the last time we walked into the sales office and saw how quickly we are able to turn around an inquiry into a proposal, or how quickly we are able to convert an opportunity into an order? Money loves speed. So the faster we are in taking action, this is one example, right? In every facet of the business, the faster we are in taking action, the better will be the financial consequence of the business. So some of the metrics you can look at is the time to quote, sales velocity, hit rate, and some of these metrics. Moving on, cash and capital pressure. Of course, money is like the blood that flows into the human body. So therefore, the more efficient we are in managing money, the better it is for the business. So one of the symptom again is inventory, where if we are stuck with a lot of slow moving inventory, so it could be possibly because the sales team overestimated how much we would sell next year and we possibly over ordered, or we were worried about locking in a volume discount from our suppliers, or uncertainties of supplies, whatever the underlying cost be, if we have blocked a lot of money in the form of inventory, that is going to take away resources to fund other aspects of the business. We may possibly have to borrow, and that leads to higher borrowing cost and profit leaks associated with that. So how efficiently we are managing cash flow and how efficiently we are managing the capital is a key factor. So we can look at metrics like inventory days, fast moving, slow moving inventories, how much capital we have tied in inventory, and so on. We can do simple benchmarks, look at listed companies in our own space and see how they are faring, and we can benchmark and see, these days you can use simple AI prompts to get this information and see how we are doing against the rest of the industry. And related to that is your receivables. How good are you in managing your receivables? Are your customers paying you on time? Are you easily giving credits to customers? How tight is the cash flow every month? So here you can look at metrics like day sales outstanding, overdue receivables, credit discipline, and so on. Moving on, planning and decision quality. So financial planning is one aspect. So for most businesses, they do their financial planning once off, typically at the start of the year, where they would do their budgeting, and then they say this is the amount of money we're going to make, this is how much we will spend, this is what we will spend on capital expenses, this is what we're going to spend on operating expenses, and so on. Now, once this exercise is done, how often or how disciplined are we in tracking on a frequent basis, on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, and tracking the deviation against the budget and asking meaningful questions before it is too late. If there is a deviation, positive or negative deviation, understanding what is causing that deviation and taking the right actions so that we are not just stuck, or at the end of the year looking in the rearview mirror, not really knowing what caused the consequence, and by then it's already too late. So are we moving from being reactive in decision making to being proactive? So the kind of questions we need to ask is, are the numbers guiding our decisions, or they are simply reporting the history? And execution gaps. We may be good at coming up with a number of ideas, but are we translating those ideas into initiatives? Have we built a discipline in our own organization where we can take up some meaningful initiatives that are moving the needle on some of these profit leaks, so that we are not just doing actions to keep the boat afloat, the business as usual or firefighting actions? Are we also building a culture of taking proactive actions where without a crisis, we still take action on some of the areas that matter to the business that can truly move the needle on the financial performance of the business? So are we stuck in silos? Do we have an execution discipline? And do we have anecdotal evidence of having taken action in the last 12 months on an issue that was not urgent but important for the business? So what are the simple shifts you can do today? First of all, start by recognizing that profit leaks are often hidden. They are hiding in plain sight, but the truth is they are hidden. And we tend to normalize them over time. We say this is how it is, this is the reality of our business, this is how the competition, this is how the ecosystem operates, and we tend to normalize it. And the more we normalize it, the greater is the risk that we will not take action, and it will probably be too late by the time we realize. So look for some of the symptoms in your business. Look for some of these so-called friction points: return delays, waiting, rework, and so on. If you have one or more of these symptoms in your business, it simply means that there does exist profit leaks in your business. It may or may not be reported in traditional financial terms, but I can guarantee you that you are leaking profits. So what can you do today to change course? So I have built a simple 3-step action point for you. Step 1 is pick one signal. I have spoken about a number of symptoms that you can spot in your business where you may be leaking profits. Pick up any one of the signal. It could be in sales, it could be in your manufacturing processes, it could be in your customer facing processes, it could be in your inventory planning. Pick up one area that you feel you have a gut feel that there is pain here and we are leaking profits because of inefficiency in that area. And start by asking better questions. Become a bit of a detective, like a detective in your own business. Ask the question like, the 5W and 1H, where, what, why, how, who, and then try to peel the layers of complexity until you feel you are making progress in understanding what is causing this symptom. And start by taking a small action. One assumption to test, one process to simplify, one metric to watch closely. You can do this yourself. So, for example, you can use ChatGPT with simple prompts with your own numbers to the best extent possible that you can extract from your own business. Simple prompts to lead you to very meaningful decisions and actions on improving the profitability of your business. So I have taken a stab at building a simple custom GPT where I have trained it with the basic profit leadership model that we follow, and I have trained it with a typical list of 100 profit leaks in any business across operations, supply chain, and customer facing, and what have you. With a few simple prompts, you will be able to wrap your arms around the profit leaks in your business and start to get guidance in terms of what actions you can take today to improve the financial consequence of your business. So go ahead, have some fun with it and explore this tool. Let me know what you think about it. I had great fun shooting this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I look forward to engaging in many more conversations in times to come.